everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Teenath. And in Conversations with Teenath, in association with freebirds.co, we bring you some fantastic human beings of this earth. Well, today I have one fantastic human being who I really, really love a lot. And he is none other than Mr. Samir Baruah. He's also Rotarian Samir Baruah, and he's here with us. Samir, very warm welcome to you.
Thank you so much, Tina.
So nice to see you, and you're looking so good. You're looking so good. Wonderful.
You too. You are looking also very nice. Very nice.
Thank you. Thank
very
you.
Nice to see you after a long time. Yeah.
Yes. And a hearty welcome to you to my show, Conversations with Tina, because you are a huge treasure house of knowledge, and the kind of the profile that I'm going to read out to the viewers is going to be. I mean, I want everybody to listen very carefully. Please listen very carefully when I read this out, because this is a wonderful profile. This gentleman has done some amazing work over his lifetime. He's not let a single moment go by. So for the young people out there, when you say we are bored and we don't know what to do, listen to this gentleman, because he's not wasted a single moment in his life. He has gone from one step to the other. He has gone onto that ladder of whatever his work, his ambition, his goals, his dreams, and he has created a story for himself. And that is why he's on Conversations with Tina, because I want to bring you the best human beings that I know of, and I show off. I love to show off Samir, because he's such a wonderful person. He's a friend, he's a brother, and he's here today. Thank you, Samir. I will take this privilege now to read out your profile, which is huge. It is really, really huge. I don't know where to start.
I think I don't deserve so much, but I don't know whether you have something.
You have a huge profile. I don't know where to start. I'm really proud today. I've been telling a lot of people that today Samir is coming to my show, and I've told a lot of ladies who needs to see your show. So here goes the introduction of Mr. Samir Baruah, who I lovingly call Samir. Samir Baruah was a student activist, first batch of chartered Rotaract. He is a member of the Northeast, contested election in St.Anthony's College, Shillong, was executive member of the Postgraduate Students' Union of Gauhati University. He was a trade union activist of United Bank Union to the office board staff while serving a regional office, Gauhati. Member of Indian Overseas. Of course, the banking, there's more to the banking story. He had a very successful banking career, heading the bank's operation as regional head for the state of erstwhile. I think we got a little disconnected there. Yeah. We got a little disconnected. I'm going to read it out again. So he was there in all these places, in all these different states. He was the principal of the Indian Overseas Bank Staff College, Chennai, and finally as the corporate general manager of the bank in Chennai. On superannuation, he returned to his native state, Assam, and since then, he has started his new innings as a resource person in the field of banking, enterprise, and management. He became the chairman of the Kamrup Mentors chapter and member of the strategic planning committee of BYST, that is Bharat Yuva Shakti Trust, a trust floated by the Tatas Bajaj Godrej with the objective of transforming job seekers into job creators, and associated with the employment generation mission of Government of Assam, which gave a huge opportunity to work with entrepreneurs and the entrepreneurial ecosystem of the northeastern region. My goodness, he's got a profile which is astounding. I hope I have the same profile when I grow old and he's not old. I'm sorry, people, he's not old. I'm just saying when I'm like 100 years old, I hope I look back on a profile like this. Look at that. He became the vice president of Rotary Club of Gauhati and became the president-elect of the club. But in view of his PhD research, now he has done his PhD research. So all of you who are sitting back and saying, no, we just did our graduation, look at this gentleman. He did his PhD research work. He could not accept the responsibility of Vice President of Rotary Club of Gauhati. He was appointed as Director of Assam Power Generation Corporation and was appointed to a high-powered committee on banking. Meanwhile, he continued with his lecture sessions in engineering and management institutes, other colleges including Administrative Staff College. He keeps himself very busy in social and spiritual activities as one of the oldest devotee of Sri Sri Ravi Shankarji in the Northeast. And I have been very happy to be a part of one of his sessions, and which I continue to do. I continue to do my yoga because of what he taught actually through his session. And after 4.5 years of intense study, he completed writing his PhD thesis on 30th of December 2019, and now he's awaiting the Viva. My God, Samir, you are such a multifaceted, multitasker with so many interests, and I could just go on, I could just go on and on. You have been promoting organic farming, promoting rooftop gardening, kitchen gardening, and I don't know where to start and where to end. You have been going on and on and on. So what is the secret of this, of your fitness, the source of energy and your smile? You have got a smile, a 1,000-watt smile. Where does all this come from?
I think I must tell that I have a special type of gym in my apartment. And this gym does not have any heavy metals or gadgets or equipments. It has a yoga mat. And I do my regular regimen on day-to-day basis. I think I must give credit to the investment which I made on health at the age of 40. That is by coming into the fold of the Art of Living Foundation. And from that day onwards, for the last 23 years, I have been doing my regular yoga and sadhanas and all. And along with that, there is a Sudarshan Kriya that I am continuously doing. And this is helping me to keep myself fit and fine. Yeah.
Wow. And what is the Sudarshan Kriya, Samir?
Actually, it's a very relaxing deep breathing exercise.
Okay.
And it oxidizes every cell in your body. And it helps in exhaling out the toxins from your body. It's very relaxing. And then it keeps you fit and fine. And that is how I have been seeing that it has a component of the grace of the master also. Sri Sri Ravi Shankarji, he had out of great panels, he has developed this breathing technique. And this breathing technique is really helping. And it is very popularly known as SKY. It is only available in the content part of it. If you go into the greater details about it, if you want to go through, we can go through in YouTube also. You can go through SKY and see to it. And it is oxidizing every cell in your body and exhales out the toxins from you. And it helps you to remain centered.
Okay. I'll have to tell you something before I go forward that, I actually had the privilege and the honor of meeting Sri Sri Ravi Shankarji once when he was in Gauhati. And this was during the shooting. And I very desperately wanted his interview. And he was amongst all his devotees. And I remember he was in the midst of a meeting. And there was absolutely no possibility of meeting him. Then there was one gentleman. And he told me, "Aap man mein sochiye कि उनको मिलना है, आप देखिए उसके बाद क्या होता है." And I just stood there and I folded my hands and I said, "Sri Sri Ravi Shankarji, I really want to have this interview with you and I want you to come and meet me." And believe me, amongst all those people he was meeting, there were like more than hundreds. I think there were at least 500 people sitting out there, and he was blessing each of them with a flower. And immediately, within I think 15 seconds, he was there standing right in front of me and he was saying, "मैं आपको कैसे help कर सकता हूँ?" I was like, How did this happen? This is a miracle. So when you talk about Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, this is an experience I love to speak about. And this is very close to my heart because, yes, he's magical. He's really, truly, there is some sort of charisma about him.
Yeah.
That, we talked about Sudarshan Kriya and how this is, we need to learn more about the Sudarshan Kriya. Seriously, and for young people, if you're talking about breathing exercise, because I've seen many young people, when I go to train them, I have noticed that, when they do their Om, they cannot go on, they cannot sustain for a long time. They just do Om and then they are gone. So their lung capacity, the capacity to breathe, I think it's very little. And I think they should, like you said, they should go into YouTube, they should look at Sudarshan Kriya and they should do this deep breathing exercise. It's
But then, of course, they will not be able to learn Sudarshan Kriya, sir. They'll have to definitely go through a course.
Okay.
That's called the happiness course. And that is the foundation. That's the foundation. And in that course, they are trained teachers. And throughout the world, we are operating almost 166 countries. And there, all the courses are all structured. And there's a manual to be followed by every teacher. And so accordingly, throughout the world, the same course is being taken, followed by that manual. And so initially they'll have to get themselves trained. They'll have to get trained under trained teachers, and then thereafter they can continue with it. For the regular practice and things like that, etc. If they need further inputs on that, here what they will get in YouTube is only what exactly is the Sudarshan Kriya, the definition part of it, and also maybe a little bit of it, but not the actual process. Not the actual process. That process is not made available in.
So should they come and meet you? Because I have had the chance to.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
To you.
Yes, they can. In fact, incidentally, we have a lot of teachers here, and incidentally, my wife also happens to be a very senior teacher of art of viewing for long years, for almost 20 to 23 years now.
Okay, wonderful. So, Samir, what is meditation? You have spoken about Sudarshan Kriya. So, what is meditation?
Meditation is deep concentration. Doesn't require any effort. It is something where you close your eyes and then you can feel you're going within yourself and you are able to locate your inner self also. It actually I'm just telling, I'm not an expert in the part of it, but then I do my regular meditation daily, almost twice a day, and I feel that you get a lot of satisfaction, and it is also equivalent to number of hours of sleep also. It is an effortless sort of game where you allow your mind and your ear to expand, in the sense that you need not restrict them, and then you come to a particular state of mind. With regular practice, you come to a particular state of mind where you feel absolutely very, very nice and peaceful, very nice, very happy for that.
Okay,
it has got a lot of relation with stress. Yeah.
Okay, so since you're talking about stress, my next question is there anything called stress management?
And truly speaking, there is nothing called stress management. The management is always against a certain boundaries, certain counters. You manage within an organization or whether in an institution or within the house and things like that. Here the body is one. If you say manage, then I'll manage from my mind, maybe to my heart, onto my body and others. Here essentially stress is required to be released. What happens, normally you will find that we remain almost 80% in the past and 20% in the future. In the past, any sad incident which has happened in our life that clings to us. Regrets, sadness, these are things which very often they come and disturbs us. And the future, 20%, is fear. The element, the syndrome is fear. That means sadness, regret, and fear, we keep on oscillating like a pendulum. And we forget to remain in the present moment. Now, what happens when that increases the stress in the game? Along with that, what happens? We see some people, when we see Tina, we feel very happy. Sometimes we see somebody else, maybe we don't like, then automatically that element of stress comes in. Again, similarly with situation also. Situation, we always expect the situation should be as we want, but it can't happen like that. If within the house itself, supposing you are keeping your house in a particular year, sun comes and then creates a little bit of disturbance in the setup and things like that, then you may get agitated because you want the house to be remaining at this in this form. So a situation and person, these are also contributing factor towards stress. Now I can go on giving you lecturing on this subject for long hours, but it will not going to help. You will have to practice. And that is why the art of living, I can tell you that art of living, the basic course which I did 23 years back, that day it consists of 23 hours spread over 5.5 or 6 days. Such type of a course I have not got so far. I always take it as a human resources management course, in a sense that I have attended large number of programs within the country, outside the country, but I have not come across a course like this where within this period of 23 hours, such transformation can take place. And transformation takes place at 3 different levels: at the physical level, mental level, and spiritual level. All the 3 sides it takes care of, and really brings about, and very effortlessly you can transform yourself. And then what happens is that it creates, we know most of the things, but then it helps us to create more awareness. We become more awareness. So Sri Ravi Shankar ji says that ABC. He says that awareness, belongingness, and commitment, it comes automatically. And that regular practice of that, it takes all, since we have been there practicing this for long years, so we can get this whole that pranayam and kriya completed in maybe about around 20 minutes. But for a newcomer, it may take a little bit of more time. But of course, beyond that, there are advanced courses and things like that. These advanced courses will add on to it, so we'll require more number of more time for such type of thing. But here, the main is this: the stress is because we remain mostly in the past or in the future, forget to remain in the present moment. And the other thing is that the person and stress, and because the situation and person, these are contributing factors. Now, because of this only, what is happening that most of the time we are stressed and we forget to remain in the present moment. Present is something very good, man. It's a gift. See, whatever has happened in our life till today, I'm not talking very authoritatively, but that is my experience I'm telling. Whatever has happened in my life today is that it is destined. But future is not destined. Future depends upon what I do today. Depending on what I do, how I act, and how I behave and things like that, it will determine my future. So stress management as such, management is a misnomer. Management is a misnomer. It is stress has got to be released. But then generally in management terms, we are using very often the word stress management. A lot of people, they keep on talking on stress management. Stress management is difficult. Stress releasing is easy.
Wow, great. So I have to keep that in mind. But more importantly, when young people are watching your program right now, my main concern is about young people. And then, they tend to be at the crossroads. They tend to abuse their health. So what is your message to them, Samir?
My message is health is wealth. What is there, we have been hearing for ages, that still continues. That still continues, and it is still very, very important that we should understand that health is wealth, and there must be a lot of investment made on health. And for the youngsters, I will always tell that they must understand that they should not abuse their body. Body is something very unique. They should not abuse it. But unfortunately, it happens. It happens with all of us. We were also young at a certain time. And we have seen during our school days, college days, a lot of youngsters, they used to abuse their body. They used to abuse their health, in the sense that, because that was, especially for boys, because we are boys, we know, especially boys, it was happening in school, and yes, certain acts you commit, abusing your health, which was considered to be a sign of manliness. You smoke, you take to drugs, or you take to sort of give
Drinking or
drink,
something.
and all, yeah, all this. So what happens? That company that matters. Company it matters, and such of those who were heroes at that time. Now I can talk with authority because I've come up to this stage. Now, when I look back, I find such of those who were at that time heroes, they virtually became zeros. Many of them have died, and some of them who are there, they are having a lot of physical ailments, they are having a lot of problems, and seeing them, I feel like, if they would have taken care during their youth, then today the situation would not have been like this. So I think it is very important for the youngsters to understand that they will have to take care of themselves. Health is wealth. Again, I am repeating, because if health is okay, then in that case, you can supposing everybody will die one day. Supposing it's written somebody has died at 90, age of 90, and supposing at the age of 60 itself ailment comes in. From 60 to 90, you can just as well imagine what can happen. So there we find a lot of people, they suffering at the at older age, they suffer. But because they suffer, because they had not taken care of their health during the young days. So youngsters must be very, because at the young age you are able to sustain yourself. That's why that you can continue for some time. But after the 40s and 50s and all, then start, all these problems will start coming. I think it is very important for the youth. I very often when I meet them and talk to them, I used to tell them, very essential, please take care of your health, because health is one thing which is very important for you, and that will keep you going, get going till the advanced age.
Yes, when you talk about the youth, I suddenly remembered one thing that, we as young people, we used to have a lot of outdoor activities. I remember I used to play cricket with the boys, I used to fly kite, I used to play marbles, I used to play badminton, do my skating, do everything outside. But now, our children, my own child, is most of the time inside. He's either attending some webinar or some school program or something like that, and he's most of the time inside. I have not seen him outside, not doing any outside activity. And I think I keep telling him, but one good thing about him is that he's very careful about his health. So early in the morning, even before his classes start, he does his exercise. So I'm very happy about that, that he actually does a lot of exercise, and he before he goes into his class. So I think the young people should not, kind of abuse, like you said, they do tend to abuse a lot. And you have seen with your own friends that they have abused. I've seen with my friends how they had abused themselves and what they are right now, what they are going through. So I think it's important that the young people should take it that they should invest in their health instead of investing in anything else like a game or sleeping late and all that kind of thing. Sleeping early, waking up early, doing a healthy exercise, or like you said, we have the different yogas and different meditations of art of living. We should do all that, and we should, kind of have a good life. Life is
Yeah.
for living. Life is for living. It is not for abusing, this beautiful life. So you are a,
Zero to hero.
yes.
Zero to hero is something easy, but hero to zero is very painful. Very painful.
True, true,
We
true.
must understand at young age we look into the future. At the future, at the elder age or the older age, we look back. When we look back, then we can see. And I think it's very important this message should go and reach the youngsters, that they must take adequate care as far as the health is concerned.
Wow, great. Now we must, come to some very serious, some serious questions about you. Banking and enterprise. You are a key mentor accredited by City and Guilds London, and you have been mentoring a lot of entrepreneurs in the state of Assam. You have to share some of your experiences dealing with the banks and the entrepreneurs. This will be very interesting because there are a
Yeah,
lot of
I will do
women.
one thing.
Yeah,
I'll make a small attempt. I'll make a small attempt, and in very simple terms, because I am associated with the entrepreneurial ecosystem, and
okay.
more so for the last 5, 6, 7 years being in Assam. I have traveled extensively to different districts of Assam, and I have had the privilege of meeting a lot of entrepreneurs. And again, as you had mentioned in the initial stages, that I was also the chairman of the mentor chapter for the BYST. So we had a lot of opportunity of traveling to different districts and then having direct interface with the entrepreneurs around. Now, what is happening as far as the ecosystem is concerned, we have seen and found that access to finance is one of the biggest issues. Any entrepreneur for that matter, more so in Assam and Northeast, we are devoid of investment funds, we are devoid of seed capitals, we are devoid of angel funds, and that's why the banks have a larger role. And banks definitely will have to, they cannot remain in a state of reactiveness, they will have to become very proactive and to come forward and help the youngsters in the move forward. As we all know, since the opening up of the economy in 1990s, with all the financial sector reforms that was set in, along with the other reforms, so we have virtually said that the government is no longer going to take care of enterprise. Not that they take care, they will not directly take assume that much of responsibility in industry, in agriculture, in other sectors, etc. So they have adopted the policy of LPG, that is the liberalization, privatization, and globalization, because they've all understood that is not possible on the part of the government. The government is there to govern, and then they may also, like they've taken steps of ease of doing business. They can come out with reforms, they can come out with policies, and then they can come out with such type of interventions which is going to help the ecosystem. And that's why they've laid more emphasis as far as the privatization is concerned. Now, what is happening is that we are talking on skilling India, we are talking of making India, we are talking on various other sort of policy interventions which are there, which is signifying that it is time now for transforming job seekers into job creators. All along, we have been giving more emphasis on job seekers, and because government was one of the largest employment providers. But you must have seen over a period of time, the government is reducing its activities on the public sector and also in the government industries and all. So they are allowing the private sector to come up. So here, understanding the fact that we are talking on transforming job seekers into job creators, obviously, if a job creator has to start his own enterprise, then in more so in Northeast than in Assam context, the banking industry definitely will have to come forward and help them to the extent that is required. They have their own sort of norms as far as trade assessment is concerned, appraisal is concerned. They have their own names. They generally call it on the merit of individual cases. They must provide need-based finance to their enterprises. Now, as far as banking is concerned, of course, that is the subject of my research also, that why is the outflow of bank rates so low in the state of Assam? And to this extent, of course, it's a long subject. We'll not go into that aspect of it. It is a fact that the banks, the extent of financial assistance which they should provide, they have not been able to provide to that extent. As a banker, of course, we have been always telling that the credit absorption capacity is less, or the demand for credit is less, because there are no large corporates or large industries here. This was generally what we were understanding. But of course, now the situation is that what I have realized after being in the subject for the last so many years, that one thing is very, as far as the entrepreneurial side is concerned, from that point of view, I'm telling, the studies being conducted by Indian Institute of Entrepreneurship, the studies conducted by the Indian Institute of Bank Management also. Then there are several reports which are coming. And there, as far as the IE report is concerned, and then I have also seen from my field study, etc. What is seen is this: out of the MSCB, micro, small, and medium enterprises, if you look into the distribution part of it, you'll be amazed to find that 95.05% is the micro sector. And out of this micro sector, in today's day, also 90% of them, they are remaining in the unorganized sector or in the informal sector. Now, since 90% of them, they are in the unorganized sector, they are obviously finding it, they are not able to raise finance from the organized banking industry. That is one area where now a lot of attention is required to be fixed, that how is it possible for us to bring this unorganized sector into the organized sector. So while looking into this aspect of it, there are, broadly speaking, I find the two aspects of it. One is that definitely we'll have to look into, and as a policy intervention will be required, where the level of the benchmarking for the micro enterprises, I think there is necessity for us to bring down the level of documentation and the compliance level. Because if we have such type of documentation and compliance level which is in here with the small and medium enterprises, in line with that, the micro entrepreneurs, they are finding it extremely difficult to reach out to them. Maybe time has come now. We'll have to think in terms of bringing back the tiny sector which was there once upon a time, and then with a definition proper sort of policy backup so that they are able to. That is on one side. On the other side, it is necessary on the part of entrepreneurs also and the banks also to take more serious attention as far as financial literacy is concerned. Along with financial inclusion, financial literacy is becoming very, very significant now, in more so in Northeast than Assam context. It is the Reserve Bank of India themselves have taken responsibility as far as financial literacy is concerned. They have given directives to the banks also that they should come forward and then see to it that we are able to, on a mission basis, we should be able to tackle this problem of financial illiteracy in Northeast and in Assam. And of course, it is there throughout the country. But I feel there is more attention required because from my studies, etc., I have found that there is a lot of information gap and there is a lot of ignorance on the part of the entrepreneurs. Now, coming to the entrepreneurs' point of view, when I am seeing, I found that the banks they are not very much aware about banking. And second part of it, they are also not aware that it's necessary for them to establish a relationship banking, a transactional relationship with a bank from day one of their starting their business. In most cases, it is found that they think that when I'm doing business with my own money, then why should I go with my own funds? Why it is necessary for me to go to a bank? And that is one of the biggest mistakes which they are committing. That means they are depriving the banks from knowing them, how they are managing their own funds, what sort of how the activities are going on and all. They are depriving the bank from knowing them through their records. The upcountry businessman is very particular about. He knows that if I start a business with any amount of capital, first of all, my duty is to obtain a trade license, give a name to the business, and then open a current account in a bank and start operating that account. But unfortunately, what is happening, I have to go to such a level that even entrepreneurs, many of them, they are not aware about what is a current account. And many of them, they are not even aware of that there is a necessity of establishing a transactional relationship with a bank. And they are thinking they are maintaining savings account, and the savings account is what? It is a family account. It's a household account. So you club both business and family together, and that record is not it is not recognized by the banks while appraising the credit requirements. But whereas in case they have a current account and they very meticulously maintain their accounts and they route all their business to the bank account, then in that case what happens? They create silently a record in the bank that I started with 10,000 and today I have a year of 50 lakhs, or today I have a situation where I have grown over a period of time. Now, what happens in such cases? If the record is already available to the bank, and if they have routed all their business transactions through that account, now, supposing after 3 years he goes and asks for a loan from the bank manager will go to the computer and you'll find, my God, fantastic, he's got such records and he has been conducting his business so well and he's managing his funds so well. That in itself is sufficient for him to take an instant decision also he can take to give him immediate finance also with minimum of papers also. But in most cases, what is happening, what I've seen in Assam and Northeast is this: we are ignoring the banks at the initial stage, and we start looking for a bank only after 3 years or 4 years when our business have grown. At that time, we look for our uncle or we look for our dada and who is there in which bank. And so we want somebody's help to go and get introduced to a bank, even after being in the business for last 3 years or 4 years. But it was sufficient for them to obtain any sort of assistance required from the banks. So there is a gap there. So what is happening is this: there is a trust deficiency between the banks and the entrepreneurs. Now it is necessary for us to bridge it. And for bridging this, definitely we'll have, as I said, that financial literacy has got to play a very vital role. And of course, the banks or Reserve Bank of India, for that matter, will not be alone will not be sufficient. I think it is very much essential for industry associations, trade and commerce industry associations, necessary also for it is necessary for the universities and institutions and also the banking industry. All of them, they should all come together and then collaborate and see how they can help each other. For example, a bank manager, if suppose he is not aware about the sunrise sector, he is not able to identify the risk involved in financing this particular sector or this particular unit, then what happens? The immediate reaction is that आप कल आ जाइए, परसों आ जाइए, yeah, it is like this. So now what happens is that if I'm aware about the subject, then I can immediately handle it. So now instead of complaining, because the banking industry definitely they have done a huge sort of they have contributed for the economic prosperity of the country. There is no doubt about it. But now today we are dealing with entirely different scenario. We are dealing with the sunrise sectors. And the science sectors involve a lot of technology, it involves a lot of other sort of intricacies involved, and you cannot expect the banker to know everything. So it is necessary for universities and institutions, engineering colleges, IITs and all, in order to come into contact with the banking industry, provide them some capsule programs so that the bank manager is also able to identify the risk involved in particular financing a particular sort of unit, and so that they will be able to find risk mitigating exercises they can work out and accordingly make available the finance. That's what I have been feeling. Of course, you have been also discussing with me very often on the subject of financial literacy, what we can do. And then there are ways and means of doing that. Even the commerce students can play a vital role. There can be a lot of startups also on this. There can be a lot of startups because we have millions of micro entrepreneurs, and then who are in the unorganized sector. To bring them into the organized sector, I think we all will have to play a very vital role, and we must take a very holistic approach as far as this whole thing is concerned. Generally, these are not being discussed, and these are not available in the textbooks. These are things which are practical in nature. You will have to educate them. You will have to educate them that how best they can derive the benefit from the bank, and so that it will provide a comfort also to the banking industry, so that they will also come forward and try to help. This is in broad terms I'm talking. We are not going into finer details, but this is the crux of the matter, that there is a gap between the banks and the entrepreneurs. We need to bridge the gap, and there we cannot play a blame game. We'll have to appreciate each other's problems and then accordingly come out with proactive steps so that we can bridge the gap. That's what
Surely.
I have a very strong feeling as well.
Yes, Samita, I think you have touched on a very important point, and that is on financial literacy. Something that a lot of women who want to do business, who want to start off with micro business and all that, they have absolutely no idea. And I think the onus lies with us, somehow you, me, everyone who have the capacity to go and educate them. We can't do a blame game. Like you were just saying, I can't just say that, okay, the government has to do it or somebody else has to do it. Let us take the initiative. And I think you, on your part, you're doing a lot in this particular sector, and the way you have spoken about it, I hope the women are listening, and they at least get some idea. I wish we were doing this in Assamese also, so that at least some people from the village also would have heard your session that you're speaking with me. I hope we can maybe translate it sometimes, and then we can distribute it amongst the women. But this financial literacy is very important, and especially at this time. Now, when the economy is down, when everything is down, and people are feeling so distressed about what they're going to do, how they're going to garner their business and everything. So I think this literacy part is very, very important. Wonderful, Samrita. Your entire the way you have shared your information with us is truly, truly appreciative. I really appreciate it, because I thank you. I know this is really going to help a lot of women.
We will have to, because I have offered my services, voluntary services, to all entrepreneurs throughout Northeast. I've offered my services, and in fact, you'll be glad to know some of our youngsters, they are doing fantastically well in various fields, various sectors. And I am so pleased seeing the young generation. I have tremendous amount of confidence on them. I myself, I'm a die-hard optimist. I always see something good, even in anything bad. There are a lot of people who they complain, and then they keep on telling the I said, no, if you feel that the young generation is not properly sort of, they are not able to carry forward themselves properly, then in that case we are responsible for them.
Yes,
we must take responsibility for that. We will have to go to their level and find out, because they have got a lot of things. They have got a lot of potentiality. They have got a lot of thoughts. And today, in today's context, I am telling you, our people from Northeast who have gone outside, gone abroad, they are doing wonderful. They are doing wonderful. I still recollect the presentation which was made on carbon credit in Chennai in a 5-star hotel. Such a fantastic presentation was made. At the end of the program, at the end of the presentation, I went to the author. I went to him, and then I congratulated him. Then I asked him, you hail from where? He said, I hail from Tejpur. My name is so and so. That means there is no dearth of intelligence as far as people in Northeast are concerned. The other day I was in Bangalore, in Whitefield, with one of the very big corporate houses there, and they were telling that we are so pleased seeing a lot of youngsters coming from Northeast, and they speak so good English, and they are also into technology and all. We would like to do something in Northeast. So that way, we have a lot of potential. As you said very correctly, under this changing scenario now, we will have to revisit. We'll have to revisit, rethink, and then come up with new ideas. A lot of out-of-box thinking is required now at this stage. At the same time, of course, one thing which I forgot to tell you at the time. See, it is for information of all entities. Universally, the trigger point for any enterprise is the needs and conveniences of every individual right from the morning she wakes up till the next day morning he wakes up. Like we need a toothbrush, we need a toothpaste, like this, we can go on listing out what are the needs. We have 3.5 crore population. That means we have 3.5 crore consumers. India is having 1.3 billion population. We are always taking population as a liability sort of here. But as far as the multinational companies are concerned, they are thriving on India. They are finding it to be a huge emerging market. And on top of it, that they have understood the significance of our rural market. They have understood how potential our rural sector is. So that is one area where our entrepreneurs will have to focus on the rural sector also. I think that is very essential for all of us to understand that there are huge opportunities available. All that is required is that we should come out with our own inherent rights and connect that to our enterprise.
I
Every
think
individual here, you are there, me, I am here, we all are here, we are listening. Every individual is having something inherent rights. That inherent life, some of them they pass through their whole life, they are not able to locate. Some of them are very enterprising, they are able to locate it at the very beginning itself. And that is where I repeatedly say that if there is something which is from what we call from the core of our heart and we like it, and supposing we can relate our enterprise to that like, I guarantee you that 100% will succeed. And that is the passion. But unfortunately, what is happening, because we lack in ideas, demonstrate the economic theory, we talk on demonstration effect. The demonstration effect in Northeast is playing, what I would say is playing a more leading role, in the sense that you see someone doing something, then you straight away ape it and then you follow it. Whether you have any sort of attachment to some type of enterprise, that is something different. So after some time, you are not able to succeed, you fail. It is happening within Gauhati city. If you keep on moving, then you'll find so many bakeries coming. Once upon a time, the PCOs had come. Now suddenly there are bakeries and bakeries and bakeries and all eating houses and eating houses and eating houses. Will they sustain? Maybe if it is our passion, then this is a different thing. And in essence, that means ideation is very important. And ideation has to come something from within. You had asked me on meditation. At that time, meditation is very essential, not for the older people, it is for the younger people who are very dynamic in a situation, because that will enable them to go within themselves and locate that life, and with which they can connect their enterprise.
That's wonderful, because when you talk about meditation, I feel that it's these entrepreneurs, these young people, these business-minded people. I think it's important for them. And the other thing that you spoke about is that the rural sector. We are supposed to concentrate more in the rural sector. I think a lot of people after this, our immigrant laborers have also come back. They have understood the importance of being in their own place and finding out certain resources and doing business with that. I think they're coming back, and I have full faith. Like you say, I have full faith in my people, and I know they're going to do something or the other. We are all trying to find new avenues of work, new avenues of business. So I think I'm very positive we're going to get there. So we'll go on to the next question. This is another very, very important question that I have for you, Samirda. You always say that even though you are an urbanite, but your heart lies in the rural sector. Can you please tell our viewers some of the rural initiatives undertaken by your empowering women? You have already spoken about the rural sector, and I know that you're deeply in love with the rural sector. So, what are these initiatives that you have done for empowering women?
Looking into the time factor, etc., let me cut short. Let me begin with remaining in a banking organization. how is it that I had started developing the idea that rural sector provides a lot of opportunities, and that we should definitely be involved as far as the rural sector is concerned, and we must make the rural sector into a very attractive alternate destination for our people, because as you know, in Assam, 86% of our people, they remain in the villages, and also in overall maybe above 75% people remain in the villages. Unless the villages prosper, this country cannot prosper. But unfortunately, our education is displacing us. Education, what is happening is that the type of education that we are providing, it is with little education, we are leaving the plow. With more education, we are leaving the village. And with higher education, we are leaving the country. So it is necessary that the inclusive the inclusive growth theory, we will have to go back and look in the villages. I'll tell you. I'll tell you a small story. That was way back in 1980. By default, I was posted as a manager of Indian Overseas Bank. So when I was posted, I was very young, maybe around 26 or so. I was not knowing much of banking because I just completed my probation, and there was a riot in Shillong at the time. The earlier manager had to flee from the place, and I was posted there. Then I thought that what to do. I went to a directorate of the director of social welfare. I was very young. I went and met him. I said, sir, I am a boy from Shillong. I was here, and then I've been posted here. I'd like to do some. I would like to do some sort of service as far as the state is concerned. Please tell me what. Please guide me what I can do. Then he said, you go near Pine Mount School. There's a training institute. There's one Mrs. Lindo is there. Go and meet her, and then she's very nice. I said, okay, fine. So I went there. When I saw madam, she was really very nice, very graceful lady. She took me around the whole institute and showed me what are the activities going on. I was very pleased seeing the activities. I was finding that there were almost 200 ladies. They were working on handloom or knitting and doing embroidery and all these things they were doing. So seeing all this, I developed interest. I was not knowing much about banking at that time, not knowing much about financing and all these things also at that time. But suddenly, I felt that these are the people who needs help. I asked the superintendent that what do they do after the training is over? He said that after the training is over, we are very sorry to tell you, the banks are not coming forward and helping them to the extent desired. Then I asked that, do you have the records of all these ladies with you? They said, yes, we have all the records with them and all the. I said that, will you be able to part with copy of that to us? He said, yes, we'll be able to do that. Then I instantly, I said, we are going to help all these 200 ladies. We will give them whatever requirements of working capital required, or if it is required for purchasing of the machineries and things like that, whatever is required, we'll do it. And we did it. Many bankers may be thinking that how is it possible for you to finance in all these villages sitting in Shillong? But since we were the only bank branch there in Shillong, so that means our whole area of operation was the state of Meghalaya. And so taking that step, then we financed them and we helped them. And later on, we came to know, I got transferred from there to Calcutta. One fine evening, those days, Doordarshan only, watching Doordarshan, and suddenly they were showing the activities of all these ladies coming up in life, and they were wonderfully well they were doing. They've done wonderfully well, and that has really given me that sort of kick. I said, no, I will not stop at this, and throughout my career, I'll continue. And I must admit that wherever I worked, I found the ladies were very hardworking, and they were very sincere, and they are very committed. They were very committed. I had, while going to Ranchi, I found that ladies are so competent, they are so good and all. But I asked my people to give me a data of the number of savings account maintained by ladies. And I was horrified seeing that virtually there was nothing. No. I said that one side I'm finding they're working like, they're working on the field, they're working in different professions and things like that. And they're earning. But why they are not having a savings account? And we carried out a survey, and I always take the help of institutes and schools and colleges for getting the surveys, etc. done, because I know the youngsters, they can do a lot of work and they can do the job very fast, because we have large number of students. And students, when we give them some such type of projects, they feel very happy. They go and they get the They pass their exams and the reports are made available to us. The data is made available to us. So in that survey, what emerged was this. They said your name of your bank is so and so. So seeing the name itself, we have under the impression that all your transactions will be in English. So we do not know much of English. We know more of Hindi, and that's why we are not coming to your bank. We are hesitant to come to your bank because we, by ladies being shy by nature, they said that we are hesitant to come to your bank. And then we started a campaign. We said our name is here, but we work in Hindi. And second part, they said we are under the impression that the procedures will be very cumbersome. It will be very difficult for us to come and open accounts and things like that. We started a campaign where we said that our name is in English, but then we work in Hindi. And second part of it, we said it is this, that the procedures are not complicated. Procedures are also very simple. Now you'll not believe that campaign caught the imagination of all the ladies of that area, and over a period of time, large number, hundreds of such accounts were opened. And then, incidentally, the government, it came to a notice of the government and to the Nagar Raj Bhasha, there's a committee is there, and it came to a notice. They said that the use of Hindi, this bank has made so much of business. So they said that it's not only that Hindi is required for literary purpose, Hindi can be used only also for the economic upliftment of the people. So I was in a public, there was a public ovation given to me, and then they recognized the fact that with the use of Hindi also, how women empowerment can take place. And it was a massive effort as far as financial inclusion was concerned and also financial literacy was concerned. Similarly, when I was in Delhi, I started working with an organization which had about 21 self-help groups of women. And all these women, they were making faces. They were making faces out of Times of India newspapers. Newspapers, they were mold, they were through a process, they were making it. And I still remember, I feel so happy about it because they came out with such fantastic products, and the products were being sold in the five-star hotels, and through them it was being also sold to the other high-ended customers. So that means if the bank wants, I always say that if a bank manager wants, he can make a cobbler into Bata, an auto operator in that is the amount of capacity that the banker is having. If the banker is able to understand that as a financial doctor, they are able to take care, they can reach out to the people to any extent and they do not have any limitation. They can associate themselves with any activity of in the morning itself, they can be an architect, an engineer, they can be a farmer, they can be a teacher, depending upon the type of customers they are handling. This is not possible in any other department because the department is only fixed on a particular their own sort of activity. But for a banker, there is no limitation. So he can associate in course of the day itself. They can associate with any activities of life, and that is what is necessary. Is this that we have somehow over a period of time we felt as if our job is very burdened and that we are too much pressurized and we are finding it difficult and things like that. I think that sort of mindset is required to be changed in the sense that you are getting a wonderful opportunity while remaining in service to serve the society. I think that is something, and that will give you the real sort of thrill as far as working in the banking organization is concerned. Because I still remember that proactiveness was there, and because when I was there as the chief manager of the bank here long years back, and today, when I'm moving on the road here and there, suddenly somebody will come and say, "Sir, how are you? Namaskar. You remember you told me this, and today I have this." I feel so happy seeing that, and that is the sort of greatest sort of blessings that we can have. I think the banking organization, I feel in Northeast will have a large role to play. Entrepreneurs also that way will have a large role to play in order to understand and then equip themselves. And today, thanks to technology, today information is available right across. With a click of a mouse itself, we can get all the information. Websites are available, everything is available on the public domain and all. So under the circumstances, I think it's necessary for us to. All that is required is mentors are required. People like you all
Samir,
can use road. Yeah.
I hope other bankers are also listening about your initiatives. You know, you have taken some fantastic initiatives, and I think you have taken a lot of initiatives regarding women empowerment. And you've been all across the country. And while you were in the banking sector, you have been all across the country. Please share some of these stories with us. You know, at least for the sake of the viewers.
No, let's see. Nothing fantastic I have done. All that I have done is that I was associated with many of the women's organizations in the sense that I used to visit them, and then I used to find out from them what are the areas of concern for them, and accordingly we are addressing the concerns. As I told you at the in between, that access to finance is in today also. The access to finance throughout the country is a big issue, and banks, because of the stress that they have felt out of the stress assets, the non-performing assets and things like that, and consequent to that, there were a lot of accountabilities and things like that coming up. And because of that, there is certain element of credit aversion and risk aversion was taking place. But of course, the government and Reserve Bank of India is addressing all these issues. And then now I think it's time for all of us, including the banks, that as far as women entrepreneurs are concerned, we will have to have a special focus on that. And there is provision, lot of provisions are there, lot of provisions for them also. As far as trust areas are concerned, for Assam, where the women entrepreneurs can take interest, that is, there are a lot of trust areas that have been identified also, including the food processing and then agriculture. That is one way, that is one way. Then we have these handicrafts, we have got all this, whatever you are, what I said is that throughout the country, such type of initiatives have been taken. One such initiative was in Tamil Nadu. I still remember we worked on the village network economy. And that is, of course, in every sort of project, you need somebody. You need somebody in the village taking the ownership also. There was one Rangaswamy Ilango who took the ownership in the village. And we, from the bank side, we provided all sort of support as far as being a facilitator, and then also as funding agency. There, what I would like to tell, in that particular sort of project, one very significant thing happened. International Red Cross, they wanted 60 ladies. They came from Chennai to the village. They said they want 60 ladies, that they will send a vehicle in the morning, pick them up, take them to their factory, and from there, they will again drop them back in the evening. They said that they want them for the first aid kit. They want to assemble the first aid kit, and they want nimble fingers, and they want ladies that they can do it better than the gents. That's why they wanted ladies. Now this Rangaswamy Ilango, very enterprising person, was a scientist. He left his job and came and worked in the villages. He says, "Can I come and see what they are required to do?" They said, "Yes, you're most welcome. Please come." He went to a Chennai office of that concern, that export house. In the export house, he found that there was an AC hall, very clean sort of environment, and that is all. Otherwise, all the ladies will come there, and then there they will assemble, and then they will finally live in the evening. Then he gave a proposal. He says that supposing I create an infrastructure like this in the village, and instead of moving the ladies in the morning and coming back in the evening, because it's so difficult for them in the village, especially for the ladies to come out for the whole day and then go back. Is it possible that you send your raw materials, we will get it assembled and then send it back? They could not even think of that such type of interventions can be possible. And we from the bank side, we helped them, and then they sort of supported them, and they had some other facilities also. Then that infrastructure was created. Once that infrastructure was created, after that we went and saw in the village, all the ladies in the village, about hundreds of them, were coming in the morning very clean with aprons and all, with gloves and all. The raw material used to come, the cotton and all these items used to come, and they will there sit inside their here, and then they will assemble it. In the evening, the vehicle will come and take it. So here, what I'm saying, we must realize and understand that the role that is being played by the women, that they are to be credited more because they are not only homemakers, but then they are also adding on to their support to the family by such type of participating in such type of activity, which is helping them by remaining in the villages. So in
Okay, I think we'll have to wait. I think the video has frozen, so we'll have to wait for some time to let Samir come back. He's been talking very interesting things about his banking career. Yes, I think he's coming back. Can you hear us, Samir? You were gone in between. In fact, Samir is a very wonderful person. More than that, he has spent his career as a banker, and today when we hear what he has been doing for women empowerment, it is really heartening to hear him. I think there he's back again. He's back again. I was just filling up for you. Yes, yes.
Well, there was some technical snag was there on,
Yes,
on
yes.
your part, at your end.
At my part? Okay.
Yeah, no, at your end, some technical issue was there maybe.
Okay.
So that's how I don't know. Throughout my career, I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet. I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet.
No,
I'm giving the credit to the banking industry, because the industry has provided all the scope that if it is if one, they can bring about a lot of changes. They can help it.
but I seriously think, when you're saying not blow your own trumpet, but I think you deserve to blow your own trumpet. And at this moment, as I hear you speak and I've heard what you have done for women empowerment, I seriously think that you should let somebody write your book, your biography, a kind of a biography where you store all your stories, and this will be a very good read for people, young people, women, to be inspired by, because these stories people need to hear, they need to read, and they need to speak about this. And I think you need to blow your trumpet. It's absolutely okay to show off, I think, right now. And there's the other thing that you need to show off is that you have traveled all across the country and even abroad, and you have got accolades, you have got all kinds of recognition, and plus you have had a fantastic career in as a banker. You have touched the highest echelons as a banker, and then you come and do your PhD. That is something that some people do not have the heart, they do not have the time, they do not have the energy. How do you do this? You have to share this with the viewers. Seriously.
Truly speaking, I am not that interested that I should get a doctorate. But what I was seriously interested is this, that the trigger point again, it was there in the 1980s, when I was as a young manager of the bank, had to face the state level bankers committee meeting, and the chief secretary of that time, and the credit deposit ratio of our bank was very low, like almost all other banks. Almost every bank had got the banking from the chief secretary, and when my turn came, then I was not able to explain why it is low. And he virtually fired me. He said that no, this is not acceptable, not acceptable. And that particular sort of lesson which I learned, and a particular sort of situation, the embarrassment that I faced, had remained with me for long 40 years. After coming back, in between, I was having a mind that I would like to go into research and find out what exactly is the cause for it. And on coming back, I suddenly found one fine morning an advertisement in the newspaper calling for PhD application forms, etc. I just like that filled it up. I filled it up, and then later on I was told by the vice chancellor that no, the process is not like this. The process is that you will have to apply. You have applied, fine, but it is like this, that if you get selected, for that purpose you will have to sit in a common entrance admission test. said, you will have to appear in a common admission test. I said, after 45 years, writing a test would be very difficult. But he said, can't help it because that's the norm. But since that the face of the chief secretary was still appearing before me, I thought that, okay, let me take a chance. So that way I appeared for the test, and I did it. And after that, they said that you'll have to appear before a viva, before the experts committee. So I appeared before the experts committee. Later on, they said another 6 months you'll have to do a course. Course work is there for 6 months, and after that you'll have to appear in 5 papers. If you pass, then the registration will take. I said, my God, this is a long procedure and all. But somehow I did not know that face of the chief secretary kept on sort of pushing me to do it. I had registered myself. I completed all the process, and then finally, for 4.5 years, I had, as I said, that I went on collecting data and Yale. And finally, in December last, I had submitted my thesis. But here, important point which I would like to make a mention is this. There are a large number of 60 plus senior citizens who are able-bodied with huge exposure, expertise, and experience. And unlike in the US or in China and all, where they give a lot of emphasis on research, here what I found was this, that most of the research work was done for career progression. But then we have, maybe time has come now, we should take the 60 plus seriously. 60 plus seriously, by grace of God. Normally 60 plus, 60 to 70 is a good age because their family liabilities are virtually over, children grown up, married and all. And if they are otherwise fit and fine, I think they can hugely contribute. They can hugely contribute to the prosperity of the country because they can come out with a lot of applied research works. They can come out with a lot of applied research works, and then they can help also. And then because their job will be on public interest, they'll not be interested in jobs, and they will do whatever they do. They will put everything into it, and I think it can help the country to a very large extent. And it provides an opportunity. Now I think UGC also has changed or something like this, but it is necessary. That's why I've been telling the vice chancellors whenever I meet that why don't you take up with UGC and then open the window for all such senior citizens who have huge international exposure, experience, expertise. These are the people who can hugely contribute. Otherwise, whatever they have acquired during their whole year is just going waste now. So I found a lot of because I have a lot of friends. I know they are such talented, and they have got such huge sort of potentiality that they've got. And when they understand that I am doing my research work, they also come forward, and then they say that we are also keen to do it. How to do it? When I start telling them about the procedure, then they said, no, it's not possible for us. We can start our work and studies and things like that, but then to going through this procedure, we find it very difficult. I think this time now they should also, the government also should look into and find out what sort of procedural changes can be made for such type of competent and qualified. It should be qualified, competent personnel and senior citizens in this group. They can come forward and do a lot of work. As far as I am concerned, it was my passion, and then I was very much interested. And again, my subject was this, that it was focused on the youth. It was focused on the youth, that how is it possible for us to come forward and help the youth in enterprise.
Wonderful.
The whole subject was to encourage the banking industry to come forward, and then so that they increase the outflow of credit in the state of Assam.
I hope the elderly people are also, the senior citizens are also listening to you, and I hope they'll be encouraged. At least the ones who have got exposure and they have got experience, I hope they are, they have they are encouraged by what you have said, and they come forward and they do their PhDs. At least this is going to help the nation. It's if not anything else, it's going to help the nation, because with their expertise, again, we have more research and more, kind of sharing of knowledge. So.
Yeah.
Fantastic. This is very good. We are almost coming to the end of our program, but then, for all I know, you've got a wonderful family, and I know your wife very well. She's such an angel person. I had the chance of being with her in one of the Art of Living sessions, and she's the first Reiki master of Assam. Please tell us something more about her and your family, of course. Your wonderful family.
I think you'll have to invite her one day to your program, and
Yes,
then
I do.
she'll be able to hear.
I have a plan.
And
Yes.
she has, of course, I should not tell. I was also very pleased to see the level of commitment and the sincerity. And she was very committed, and she is very committed and very simple and very sincere. And that person of her nature could go and work in such places like. She was entrusted with certain responsibility of rehabilitation of the overboard alpha militants who had come under government program. They have come out of their way, and it was necessary for them to rehabilitate them. And Sri Ravi Shankar ji specially entrusted responsibility to her, and she flew all the way from Chennai, and she went to Kakapathar, and then she went to Nalbani camp, and she had taken courses. She had taken courses for them, and then out of that, one thing which emerged was this: that subsequently there were about 241 of them who were uh, provided by government of Assam under their official sort of program. They went to the Bangalore Ashram of Art of Living Foundation, and they were there for 41 days, and they had done a lot of transformational job there. These people, they have come back. That was in sometime in 2011. They had come back. This course was taken in sometimes in 2009, and then they were there in the for the rehabilitation program in Bangalore Ashram in 2011. And then thereafter they came back throughout Assam. They are there now today, and they are all doing fantastic work. They are doing a lot of social work and good work, and they are no longer into arms and things like that. They are all into the society. And we carried out an impact study in 2017. We had the privilege. I accompanied my wife also. She went with us. We went to all the places in various districts of Assam to find out what exactly they are doing, and we collected a lot of information from them, and we were so pleased seeing the transformation taking place. And one significant work that was done was in Kakapasar. At that time, that was a dreaded place. You all know it, where people are fear going there inside there. And even the DC was little apprehensive about it. He had given a local officer. The local officer was also telling my wife that, Baido, how can you go there? We officers, we are afraid of going there because when we go there, we may not come back. Are you not afraid? She said, no, I am not afraid. I am not going with any bad sort of cause. I am going for a better cause for them. And this is as per the regulations only. I am going. So there is no problem. She went there and subsequently took initiative with the blessings of Sri Ravi Shankar ji. She took initiative to start a school there. And one of the alpha militant who was earlier in the education line, he was also entrusted with certain responsibility there. And finally, she was instrumental in setting up the school there. And today you'll be pleased to know that the school is having some 400 students. It's a very remote village.
Wow.
Even the DC was telling the Lions, Rotary, and all these organizations, they come and they do lots of activities, etc. But then nobody goes to such far-flung places, such remote place, God forbidden place, and then does something. And today, the first batch of high school living certificate students, they came out all with flying colors, 100% passed. They all passed. And if you have opportunity of going there, you can go and see for yourself. It is really something great, I must say. And it is so pleasing to see. We visit. Sometimes she goes to that place even now. And whenever occasions are there, whenever she goes to Upper Assam, she makes it a point to go and visit the school. And we feel very happy that a lot of transformational job has been done, taken care of. And that particular village was very famous because a lot of killings took place there, a lot of took place. And people are very happy about it. And she is keeping herself very fit and fine now. She has also a lot of ailments, but coming into art of living, she recovered herself and then keeping herself very busy. I am also keeping myself very busy.
So that is the secret. That is the secret of both your good-looking faces and your good-looking body and your health and your spirit and your mind and everything. Both of you are so good-looking, and I have to tell people this, that because of your positivity, because of I have met you in Rotary, and since then I have always been very charmed by your presence, your aura, and I've always been wondering that this gentleman is really, really very nice. And you actually turned out to be such a nice person, because we have this.
No, not that. See, what happens is this, that by heart, I'm telling that by heart, I want to see that the benefit goes to the common people. As you
Right.
asked, in the rural sector, you said that I always said that yes, I'm an urbanite, but my heart lies in the rural sector. I extensively traveled to a rural sector. And in the bank also, people know me throughout the country, wherever I was working, in every state. I had made my presence felt in the villages because I had come out with a lot of projects and very successful projects were taken up. Two such projects appeared in two very important books. One of Abdul Kalam, that Chennai, the Tamil Nadu project, and another one, the management guru C.K. Prahlad's book, The Fortune Lies at the Bottom of the Pyramid. For the in Mirzapur in Uttar Pradesh, we did a fantastic job for the villages, and that appeared in his book. So this is something, not that I'm just a show off a thing like, not that. That element of concern is very deep rooted, very deep rooted. And still, I feel that people in the villages are so good, but they are losing their self-esteem. They are thinking that as if everybody comes and gives them some sort of assurance they give, and finally they do not do anything. But there is, I'm telling you, there is huge potential that people are very skilled. It is necessary on our part that women entrepreneurs can take interest in that. As far as handloom is concerned, crafts are concerned, we are taking, both of us, we take initiative. Very silently we take initiative. We are not giving much publicity to what we are doing and things like that. So many times people think that maybe we are not doing anything, but we don't go and tell people what we are doing. We are not doing. But then we feel that their people are really very good in the villages. Very good. They're so sincere, they're so good, they're so innocent. Unfortunately, it is we, I think, are responsible at times that spoiling them. But now I think youngsters will have to take care of the villages. We'll have to, like we have seen in foreign countries, where how they are taking care of the countryside. Here also it is very necessary for us to take. And for that matter, I think I must praise Abdul Kalam Sahab for his Pura. Pura is providing urban amenities in the rural areas, and that was modified subsequently. And they have come out with different models in different states. In Gujarat, they have got one such type of model. But here, we'll have to understand that we'll have to provide urban amenities in the rural area. We just cannot force the urban youths just to go and stay in the villages, because they've got acclimatized to a certain lifestyle, and whatever minimum that can be provided is necessary for us to provide. And thanks to it, that we have now the housing projects are there in the villages. Now, supposing a house is constructed there, and all the implementing agencies representatives are they can go and stay there. It's a modern sort of game. You have bedrooms, separate bedrooms for all of them to stay together, and then you have a common drawing room, and you have a dining space, you have a modular kitchen inside there. You provide all the amenities there. Like, we can take a cue from the Britishers when they came here, when they started the tea gardens. Even today I'm amazed to go and see a bungalow in a tea garden, the architecture part of it. They've taken so much of care. They have understood work-life balance at that time itself. They've come out with practical solutions that if I have to start a tea garden, I'll have to stay there. If I start commuting from the urban areas every day, I will not be able to run the tea garden. So they have made the infrastructure there. They have created the bungalow there, and with such architecture that during the daytime they will work like mad. In the evening they know how to relax. Once they are inside the bungalow, that means it's giving them an impression that as if they're in UK. So these are interventions which are required now. We cannot go on lecturing and then telling people what etc. What is required is that we will have to make possible for the implementing agencies representatives to stay in the village. If they start staying in the village, then they will come into contact with the villages. Now, what is happening under Indian road conditions, under Indian climatic conditions, they traverse every day 50, 60, 70 kilometers. By the time they are in the work station, they are tired. They are looking at the watch to go back. It's that sort of commitment, with that sort of belongingness, I think rural transformation cannot take place. We'll have to come out now with technology. Thanks to technology, we can go into a lot of tracking and monitoring can be done with the technology. A lot of outreach programs can be done, which was not possible earlier. To the use of this technology in Indian context, where we are a labor-intensive country, we are not a capital-intensive country. So technology is needed, but technology is needed only up to a certain extent, not to create jobless growth. So if we need technology, then in that case, technology has to be as an enabling service, so that we are able to take technology and go into outreach programs and then come out with such type of gear where the tracking can be done. So far, physically, it is impossible, because that physically what happens is that outreach is not possible to that extent. And on top of it, physically, sometimes we become very subjective in our game instead of remaining objective. But if we use technology, I think the tracking and monitoring can be seen. Then we will be able to ensure that whatever plans and programs at the macroeconomy level we have done, we have come out with the plans and programs. There's a huge gap between policy and practice. So that gap can be also minimized, because we'll be able to know that the money for which the purpose now of the direct benefit transfer is there, and that is helping. But that is helping as far as the money part is concerned. But as far as the work part is concerned, we can use technology and find out if yes, things are happening and all. So in some infrastructure we created in the villages, so that in that infrastructure, the people, the officers who are vested with the responsibility of implementation can comfortably, again I'm saying, comfortably they can stay with minimal sort of lifestyle what they manage in the house within in the city, so that they have some such type of comfort made available there. By force we cannot do everything. We'll have to appreciate. Now we have all become victims of our comfort zone today. Having become victims, we cannot blame that we have become victims. But then if we have become victims, that whether some such a minimal facilities can be made available also in the villages, so that we can go and stay there and create that sort of. Don't you agree?
Yes, yes,
If we
totally,
stay there, we will meet the year. We'll go and take a class in the school. We will go and meet the people. How are you in the evening? We can go and chit chat with them, and they can also come and tell. And in the dining table inside the house, supposing the banker, the agriculture extension officer, the veterinary extension officer, and then you can tell, you can say that project implementing whatever it is, the project officer, and similarly the teachers, the children, if they all stay, supposing there is a big house where there are say 8 bedrooms are there, and with all attached baths, and they are all staying independently in their room. In the morning they come, they have their breakfast together, they have the dinner together. There will be available facilities for the when they all stay together. In the dining table itself, they can say that today I am going to this village, tomorrow I am going to that village. Oh, if you are going, then the banker can tell, just do a little bit of follow up for me. Or the agriculture extension officer may tell the veterinary person, since you are going there, you do this for me. I am going to that for. So that sort of integration can be there. That sort of collaboration can be there. At the macro level, we are collaborating. We are between many ministries. We have Niti Aayog, or we have the Planning Commission and all. But at the grassroots level, what is happening? There is lack of coordination, collaboration. We are all working on a standalone basis. We are all working on a standalone basis, and that's why what is happening, we are not able to create the impact that is required now. And more so now, you see all the migrant workers, you see all the daily wage earners, they're all skilled people. Because of their skill only, they are able to get something in for the day. But why why that we have not been able to bring them into the organized sector? Time has come for a little bit of awakening, and then revisiting, and then seeing that instead of going on talking on the problems, let's talk on the solution. I always conclude anything by saying that we need Indian solutions to Indian problems. Our management books of the US cannot come and solve the problem here, because our things are entirely different. We will have to find out our own solutions to our problems. I hope you agree with me.
Totally, totally. I mean, I have this entire session today, 1.5 hours has been very, very, it's been a kind of a knowledge thing for me. It's been a kind of a book which I opened, Samir Baruah's book, and then, I have learned so much from you. You have shared
Not
so
that I
many.
have also learned from my seniors, I've learned from others, and it's not that me. I am finding even better persons than us also within the society here. And I am meeting so many amazing persons I'm meeting from time to time. And then I'm always on the lookout. I am always on the lookout for such type of persons. I learn a lot of things from them. Why, for me, learning is a never-ending sort of process. You can keep on, and then it's helping also. I strongly feel sometimes that I'm in enterprising. Why I'm saying I'm enterprising? Because I just do not remain idle. And then I try to locate people. I learn from them, and I try to collaborate, and then to sort of create that sort of a platform for them. I've been telling now, since I'm there in the startup ecosystem, and with a lot of youngsters, I work mostly with youngsters and mostly with the entrepreneurs. There I am telling that we are responsible more to create that sort of environment here, which can induce, which can encourage all our youngsters who are there abroad, that now that they have acclimatized themselves with the living style there, they cannot just like that decide to come back. But supposing we can exude confidence by building up such type of infrastructure here, that they will be inclined to invest. They can invest, and in course of time, if it succeeds, then that case they can take a chance of coming back and then taking it forward.
True, true.
We have a lot of
So,
high net worth individuals. We have a lot of high net worth individuals. Maybe they'll be able to pay. Maybe we are in the process of creating a corpus. We are one thing that the corpus should be there for investment funds at the private sector level, so that we can, with the corpus, we can help our young entrepreneurs as far as the seed capital is concerned. As far as
true,
seed
true.
capital is necessary, we can provide some angel funds to them. But that can be done very professionally managed. We can very professionally manage that whole thing, so that we have large number of high net worth individuals. But unfortunately, the risk appetite is very low. They must have kept that corpus in banks and then in savings or fixed deposit like this. But then if that amount, a part of that, if it would have been available to form a corpus, I think through you, I'd like to give this sort of appeal to all the senior citizens, more especially whose family liabilities are over and they are sitting on a corpus, whether it's possible on their part to think, and whether it's possible for them also to come forward and contribute in forming an investment corpus for the Northeast or for Assam for that purpose. And with that, that can be a starting point for all that. Most of the startups now, because they deal in intangibles, the banking industry is not coming and helping. Even though there are certain directives coming that they should do it, gradually they are coming, because they have also lost to understand how to finance and think. Generally, they were doing all on tangibles, not on intangibles. So it is necessary for us to take a holistic view of everything and see to it that how it is possible for us to make it. One thing is certain, we have large number of youngsters now, they are really very good. And we have a lot of success stories now. Even in
True,
the last 6 years, I'm telling you, there are a large number of youngsters with whom I'm in contact, and they are all succeeding in various fields, right from the
very
IT sector to
nice.
agriculture to organic farming and others. They're coming up.
Wonderful. So I hope everybody's going to listen to your to whatever you have said today, and I would like to thank you for coming up with all these issues and coming up with solutions and not with the problems. It has been a pleasure listening to you, Samrita. Thank you so much. Thank you for spending your time for 1.5 hours with us. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Tina, for giving me this opportunity. And I have been seeing that you have always been taking a lot of interest, and wherever it matters, you express yourself also with the objective of that there should be a better society, or there should be a better sort of.
True.
And my blessings and good wishes to you all the time. At the same time, once again, before concluding, I would like to say my thanks to all the entrepreneurs, and I would like to definitely say thanks to all the bankers also, because they have been also under this COVID circumstances also, they've been playing a very, very vital role, and they have been silently discharging their duties despite the risk to life, etc. And on top of it, only humble submission before them, that let them also shed the inhibitions and let this credit aversion and risk aversion be a thing of the past. And let them come forward when the Reserve Bank of India and government is providing enough of liquidity to them. The liquidity is there, the ability is there, the willingness has to be there. There's a the willingness part of it is what is necessary.
Yes, absolutely. Samita, thank
Thank you.
you once again. Thank you. It has
Thank
been
you.
a
Thank you.
pleasure,
Thank you
absolute
so much.
pleasure.
Thank you
Thank you,
so much.
Samita.
Yeah.
Good night. You
We'll,
take
we'll
care.
again meet. Yeah, sure.
Yes, we'll meet soon. Bye bye.
All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.